The Casper community has done it again and the numbers are impressive. And now let's take another look at them. Plus, new information about a scam and new DeFi developments around Casper. Hey, and welcome to Crypto Yule. In the last video, I already told you a lot about Casper and what's happening there right now, and there are always new updates. And we also have some exciting comparisons to Bitcoin, which are very interesting. So stay tuned, it's worth it. Let's start with a question from you guys. In the last video, I was wearing a soccer jersey. It's a bit cold here in Germany right now. It's October, so I'm back in a hoodie, but this time with an embroidered Casper logo. Very, very stylish. And in the last video, this soccer jersey raised a lot of questions. Where can you buy it? I posted a tweet about this on my English channel and also made a post here about where you can buy it. You can buy them here. You'll find the link for it in the video description. There are these two types, simply from Manchester City and from Inter Milan. These are the original jerseys and you can buy them. You can find them here for 49 euros. They look really stylish. And I want to show you the other one here again. These are embroidered patterns here. So this is an embroidered pattern instead of the Inter Milan logo. And this here is an embroidered Casper logo. That means it's not just printed, it's embroidered. And it's really, really beautiful. So for anyone interested in the blue and black one, this is what it looks like. Powering the future with Casper. Yes, and that's what it looks like. I think it's really, really good. So if you want to buy it, you can grab it right here on the site. There you'll find everything about this jersey. And with that, we've also answered the question of where you can currently buy the jersey. Let's dive into the chart, and of course we'll start with the price as always. And right now it just looks a bit like, you can see I haven't updated for a few days. I was away over the weekend, so I didn't draw a trend channel here. Daily chart, yeah, still actually, as I said, if we draw a line here, it's a sideways phase. I showed in the last video, if I draw these lines here, it looked like a breakout. Now we could extend this line here and draw it up to here and do the same here as well. And then at some point we'd have a breakout here. But whether that always happens, these are just a few lines. Whether a real breakout will happen here remains definitely exciting. But in general, the activity on the blockchain is currently unique. So the chart doesn't look promising, but I'll show you a comparison in a moment of how it could be exactly the opposite. So right now, everything is very, very interesting and exciting. And when we talk about the chart, of course, we're also directly talking about the topic of new customer exchanges. And regarding new exchanges, there's currently something for new customers. I also posted it in our Telegram group, the screenshot for it, so for all our German viewers. Join our free Telegram group so you don't miss things like this. And this is what the original tweet about it looks like. Currently, buying and selling on crypto.com with KAS is available. So this buying and selling with a credit card. But KAS is not yet tradable. That means right now you could use their simple buy function to buy and sell KAS. And here, for example, this is his personal currency. But of course, you can also select euros or dollars, as you can see here, and use them to buy KAS. That works on crypto.com, but, and this is very important, it's still not tradable yet. That means you still can't buy and sell on the spot market, probably not futures either, if futures even work at all. So you can already buy KAS on crypto.com, but you can't trade it yet. So a crypto.com listing is really getting closer. And that's pretty cool. If you already want to trade KAS spot or futures, then check out Bitget. And for everyone who is already on Bitget, there's something as well. You can register here and get a welcome package worth $6,200. And for everyone who is already on Bitget, there's a VIP 1 ticket. This also applies to everyone who is already registered. So for new customers and for those already registered, you can get, well, I currently have 5 VIP trial passes available. All of this with Bitgeld and Crypto Yule. 5 tickets available, so it's worth claiming them. This gives you additional opportunities to actively trade on Bitgeld and secure bonuses for yourself. Here you can easily buy and sell Casper via spot trading, along with over 700 other cryptocurrencies available here. And of course, you can also use the simple function to easily swap from your spot account, for example. For example, you can KAS into, why would you want to swap it? Preferably into other cryptocurrencies, or maybe, regardless of whether you have Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, you can swap them here into KAS. The limit is 0.02. So that would be the highest limit. And let's take a look. Currently, if you swap Bitcoin for KAS, you get 32,505 KAS. Of course, you can also simply swap USDT for KAS via spot trading. And naturally, there's also futures trading. With futures trading, there are also well over 500 cryptocurrencies here that you can trade long and short. for example, Bitcoin, but of course also Casper with a 20 times leverage and very likely even higher leverage if you are registered here. For new customers, register using my link and you'll get another $6,200 as a bonus when you sign up. And for all existing customers, use the other link to get this VIP trial. As I said, 5 users, this is a cool gift that Bitget has for the CryptoYule community members who are already registered. So it's definitely worth checking out. The links are in the video description. The community has done it again and once more. A new record has been set. But to sum it up, it all started with Crypto Odie, who once again called for a new record here. And he said, can we reach 60 million? And in hindsight, 60 million is nothing. The community shared the whole thing diligently. The tweet reached almost 20,000 views. And here we can already see the transaction history. That was the last record, with over 63 million transactions. And these 63 million transactions, you can already see, they've been surpassed. And he already said, let's break 60 and see if we can do it again. And as you can see from the line, there's been quite a bit more. But of course, there was also the real-time TPS when all this was happening. So, the actual transactions per second that this Casper blockchain processes. So currently, it's always a current number. Remember, a block takes 1 to 2 seconds, so it's incredibly fast. And these TPS are all processed here in real time. Very important, this isn't just some kind of stress test, but real, actual transactions are being processed. And this is the period when it all happened, when this new record was set. This is what it looked like, and it's really incredible. Michael Sutton also commented on this. It's honestly just crazy what happened here. An absolutely staggering total of 158.4 million individual transactions were processed within a single 24-hour period on the Casper network. That's truly insane, and it's almost hard to believe the scale of activity that took place in just one day. Yes, and Michael Sutton is a big advocate here and showed it all again, and the TPS number is even higher. So he really, probably when he was transferring here as well, many people were transferring here to their wallets, whether it was from exchanges, hardware wallets, web wallets, whatever exists on Casper, and all the others, Castle Wallet, there are so many now. And when you transfer everything there, you can simply see the real-time TPS at that moment, and then they said, look, within the time from such and such to such and such, we'll do the transaction, and you could just get great footage of the transactions, or rather, of the transactions per second, meaning TPS. And that is absolutely impressive. And here again is the number shown for comparison. So 148 million transactions, just think about it, were made in a single day on the 5th of October. And that's just insane what happened here. Today is already the 6th of October, and the Casper network, or rather, the community is incredible. The network is maxed out for something like this. It can handle it, and it's just amazing. If you take a look at the yearly chart for Bitcoin, you can see that from the 5th, from October 2024 to the 4th of October 2025, they processed 160 million transactions within 1 year on the Bitcoin network. And the Casper network managed that in a single day. 158 million. It's insane. It's absolutely incredible what this community has accomplished and what has happened here. And this isn't going to stop. We can see it right now as well. Bitcoin is at an all-time high. But what are we seeing here? And that's really interesting to observe. How many transactions are actually happening right now? How many transactions are actually taking place at the moment? The mempool is currently barely filled on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is reaching an all-time high, but the transactions just aren't there. So the network right now isn't even being used so heavily that you could say, of course, they're at an all-time high. Instead, it's now institutionally driven by the ETFs and, of course, by this October, which first led people to say, okay, now you can buy. And the chart shot up. But on the blockchain itself, not much is happening, whereas with Casper, there are new records. And here we can see it again, May 10th. New customer record, here then 151.4 million. So there are different numbers, but currently the figure being discussed is 158 million, or more precisely, this number that was measured here. 158.32 million transactions on Casper in a single day. And that's insane, that number. Yeah, as I said, there are different screenshots depending on when you took it. And this is what it all looks like. These are the previous records. 22nd October, there were 15.8 million transactions. 28th, September 25th, 63.2, and now the 5th, October, 158 million transactions with a real-time transactions per second of over 2,000 transactions per second. Real-time transactions. Insane. Now you might ask, why hasn't this been achieved yet in 2024? It could very well be because there simply weren't 10 blocks per second yet. And now those are here and have been implemented into the mainnet. That's why you can now reach these crazy TPS and transaction numbers. And the best way is to make your own transactions with your own wallet. For example, you can still do this right now with the Casper tank in the wallet. It's still available. 1,389 pieces. Yes, the number is slowly going down. If you want to buy one here, just go to order and enter the code cryptocurrencies, then you'll save 10% and basically get your shipping costs back. Or you can check out the current sets where you can get them for 62.91, just like the Casper wallet. According to my codes, you still get 15% off the ring, so that's a total of 25% off the ring. So right now you pay $112.50, or you can even buy a discounted one here. For example, a Bitcoin Tangem. Then the whole thing only costs 53.91. So you can easily send with your own hardware wallet. And I think the Sundrop is still available too. So these are great hardware wallets. I really recommend them to you. And you can still save some money right now. Always get 10% off with the code cryptocurrencies and currently still 15% off the ring. Very affordable, but remember you need to know your size. But these transactions also have their downsides. The network can handle it, but the connections to, for example, regular exchanges, they're not built for this. These transactions are really insane. If you just compare it, and this is a great illustration here. With Bitcoin, you have to wait a bit for transactions. We know it's 10 minutes per block, but with Casper, it's incredibly fast. The Casper network just can't keep up anymore. So it's a very nice illustration and a great comparison. But yes, the downsides are very clear here. And there are actually people who complain about such records. And to be honest, unfortunately here, it's the exchanges. Their connections just can't handle it. And currently on certain exchanges, you can't deposit or withdraw KAS. In these screenshots, Gate.io, Bybit, and Maxi are available. And yes, as you can see, I also have screenshots from my apps. At the moment, deposits aren't possible. At least not deposits, but it's the same situation with withdrawals. The network is simply congested, or rather, the exchanges can't process the network properly, and that's unfortunately the big downside of all this. A lot of people don't talk about it, but that's just the way it is. That's why it gets even more interesting when you do all this on hardware wallets, like for example with Tangem, where you have the option to buy KAS yourself using a credit card and various payment providers. There are a few small fees that come up, but to be honest, you also have those on exchanges. So having your KAS directly on the hardware wallet, like I said, buying it directly in the Tangem app also has its advantages because you can always send them. And no matter whether the exchanges are having problems or not, with a hardware wallet like this, and of course there are other wallet manufacturers and wallet apps available nowadays that also offer these features. But if you have it on your own wallet, which is directly connected to the blockchain and not through a centralized exchange like all the big ones out there, and which also are missing, which will hopefully be added soon, then you have the advantage that you can always send transactions because you are independent of exchanges and can simply send directly via the blockchain. Then apparently there was also a small scam. I've already tried to verify the whole thing a bit, and I've also come to the conclusion that it didn't go very well for the person involved. The whole thing was exposed here, namely as a scam alert. The account Doomer supposedly designed a rug, or it could also be their own token. The account used to be a KAS bot coin account. You might remember all those Telegram bots that existed, and there were already some problems with those. So always be careful. By now things are a bit easier with the KC20 tokens via the smart contract or the second layer, but here everything is a bit more complicated. So Scam X post is the original post, which he even linked here, but it's no longer available. Escape has listed everything here in detail and also shared a chart of this available coin that existed here. So it shows what transactions took place here and which coins were problematic. He wrote quite a bit about it here and linked it with several others so that it would become more widely known. And here there are also additional screenshots of what happened. So really be careful with what you do and be careful which tokens you buy, because whenever there are so many new tokens and meme coins, there will always be some bad actors. That's why you need to be extremely cautious when you're on the Casper block deck and buying new tokens there, especially if you're buying them through a Telegram bot. By now, everything is much easier, as I already showed you in the last video, and I will make another tutorial video for you on how to buy new tokens here. Casper is so unique and the community really believes in this project because it truly is one of a kind. I've already shown you this screenshot before, which simply compares Casper, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana here. And Casper, represented by the blue circle, really scores very well in all aspects here. In terms of TPS, they should actually be on par with Solana by now, except for the fact that the Solana blockchain tends to crash when there are a lot of TPS, meaning when a high number of transactions per second come in. And Ethereum can't keep up at all. It can't process nearly as many transactions per second, and Bitcoin even less so. We can see that again here, and also when it comes to layer 2 solutions, Casper is simply ahead as well. We can see this right now when we look at all the token transactions, and that's really incredible. With Casper Finance, we can already see real progress. A lot is happening, and now you can even swap tokens there. A lot of tokens are available here, as we can see. There are many tokens you can add here, or if you have the token address, in other words, swapping on Casper Finance is available. And now, brand new, you can earn with Seal tokens, Casil and Casnacho liquidity pools, where you can currently get an APR, an average APR of 37.4% and 181.9%. For everyone who wants to use DeFi, this is live right now. Nothing is finished yet, but as we can see here, staking is not available, but we do see liquidity pools. For those who know how it works, you need to add KAS and Sael tokens, combining them into a liquidity pool. First, of course, you need to connect your wallet, which can be done with various providers. Then simply connect here and you can join the liquidity pool. That's already really cool for everyone interested in DeFi. This is now possible with Casper Finance. At the same time, there are just these transactions here. It's incredible. Just take a look at this. KRC20 fees generated. These are simply the fees generated in KAS, Casplex Layer 2, and also Casia, which are present, as well as KNS. So it's just incredible how many transactions have already been made here. As I said, KRC20 is currently in the process of being transferred, or rather, everything will probably shift over to Casplex, and then also IGRA, which will be coming soon. And all of this has happened in just 7 days. We can clearly see that a lot is happening in this area. New tokens, DeFi, and everything else that's currently happening around Casper. The future for Casper remains exciting because we can see that transactions are happening, the community is there, but the price hasn't caught up yet. With Bitcoin, it's exactly the other way around. The community is there, but transactions are a bit lacking. But why would you even want to send your Bitcoin from A to B? Because they're really just meant for holding. At least that's what people like to say. And with Casper, there's just a lot happening right now with the layer 2s, new tokens, and so on. Or when the community calls for breaking a new transaction record. That happens from their own wallets, whether they're web wallets or, for example, Tangam, and then they're just transferred really easily with very low transaction fees. Just send some CSPR here, some CSPR there. If you have a lot of wallets, you can do that within seconds. And if you have a web wallet where you don't need a hardware wallet to transfer, you can just send 100 CSPR between 2 web wallets back and forth, and you've already made several transactions. But the whole thing is meant to simply show the world. Look at this blockchain, see what it can do, what it can process, and how fast it is. The downside, as we've seen, is that transactions on exchanges, on centralized exchanges, are then no longer available. They suspend the Casper network because their own technology simply can't keep up with the volume of deposits and withdrawals. Their systems just can't process it anymore. That's why when you're on the blockchain, or specifically using Casper's block deck, you should always use your own wallet. And that's really easy, for example, with Tange. Remember, the code CryptoYule gives you a 10% discount. It's super simple, really easy, and can be used with any smartphone. And the card is your hardware wallet. And in general, the community says that there's just so much possible with Casper, and that's why they stick with Casper. That's also why you see this nice image here, HODL CAS. Some people really love that. Very nice image, a really beautiful display in this case. It's probably AI generated, but still, it looks really nice. That's why so many people stick with Casper. Well, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Remember to leave a comment, it's always worth it. Boost the video, subscribe, like. You know how it works on YouTube. It helps the channel grow and gets this video out to everyone, showing what Casper can do, what Casper makes possible, and maybe even bringing more people into the Casper community. So like, comment, and subscribe. That way you help this video get shared. And to you who stuck around until now, thank you for watching and see you in the next video. This is Mio, a central and very important character in our unfolding narrative